Troy A, Shadowwingtronics, back in the Art Soundoff Challenge. Day late, and even about an hour or two later than I usually post on Saturdays. As far as this is usually when I would post my Saturday, well, actually 12 noon Eastern is when I would usually post the Saturday comic review. Currently, I'm trying to go through my Comixology library. But this week this has just been a week of delays and stuff happening, so I didn't really get to do what I wanted to do this week. I got one thing mostly done, the Captain Yuletide. So it's just been that kind of week. So what I wanted to talk about is something that just came up rather recently, and it's something that's going on YouTube, specifically to the toy reviewers I'm following right now, but I imagine that it's going to affect a lot of other people as well. And it kind of got me thinking about the way some people look at various media formats. Particularly talking about toys, video games, comics, and cartoons. There's this kind of rationale that it's almost like anytime a new medium shows up, it's immediately got to be for kids. And everybody's so worried about kids, but they don't stop to think, is this medium just for kids? Let me see if I can get some more light in here. That's about all I can do. And specifically, we're talking about, with cartoons, the only time they can be seen as something for grown-ups is if it's some kind of subversive comedy. How many adult action shows have there been? There haven't been too many, and I can't even think of one that's on right now. And no, anything coming from Japan doesn't count. Japan does animation for kids. They do animation for grown-ups. So it's not all, but all of their stuff isn't just subversive. They do action stuff. They do slice of life stuff. They do things for kids. They do things for teens. They do things for adults. And so they kind of approach things a bit differently. With toys, right now, this is where the big problem is going with YouTube. Toy reviewers are kind of being told that their work... Sorry, I'm a little out of breath. They're being told that some of their videos, they got to decide, is it for kids or is it for grown-ups? Because their automatic response is, well, it's toys, it's got to be for kids. But, kids aren't really interested in reviews of older toys and not really interested in reviews of toys for adult collectors. So, toy reviewers are kind of being pigeonholed because they're talking about toys. It's immediately got to be something for kids. And this is a weird thing, too, with YouTube, is they were getting upset if people were using swears. So, because the advertisers didn't want them using swears. So, you got to make the thing almost family-friendly. So, there's no swearing. You can have all the violence and gore you want, just no swearing and no breasts. I don't know. I don't understand this mindset myself, but as far as YouTube advertising goes, the whole channel is demonetized because I'm not popular enough, so not really something I'm thinking about too much at the moment. But these various toy reviewers that I follow Retro Blasting, Pixel Dan, TJ Omega, Vangelis, and they're kind of getting these messages now that they've got to decide, is your content kid-friendly or not? When I've been trying to upload things, I'm on Vista, and Vista cannot use the new Studio Beta that they've been trying to push. And it kind of gets me annoyed when the Creator Insider keeps getting upset because people aren't using Studio Beta. It's like, I can't run Studio Beta on Vista. Fix that problem, I'll switch over. Until then, stop acting like it's such a big pain. Fix that problem. I can't afford a new computer. I'm currently unemployed. But, well, YouTube just did not get it. But, so now they've got this question. And that's kind of where all this coming from. Because the same with comics. It's, comics have been considered for kids. That caused that whole nonsense in the 50s with... I'm trying to find a way to keep this stable. With Frederick Wertham and all that, and all other nonsense. And comics weren't designed just for kids. It's like anime. You've got kid stuff, you got teen stuff, you have adult stuff, you have romance, you have horror, you have all the other things. And it was never just for kids. Television was never just for kids. For some reason, television, we've accepted live action shows for adults. We've accepted movies for adults. But if it's a cartoon, it's still considered for kids. You can't do an animated movie for adults. The best you can do is family friendly. And that's maybe what YouTube should do, is adopt the rating system like the MPAA or like the TV rating system, which I don't know why they needed their own separate rating system. I don't know why video games did either. But I think we need to get over this mindset that something is just for kids. I mean, nowadays there are adults who enjoy collecting toys, modern toys or nostalgia toys or just classic toys. There are people or grown-ups who like watching cartoons. I mean, I watch freaking Paw Patrol. That's definitely not an adult show, but I still enjoy it. So if I'm talking about the Paw Patrol, but if I'm trying to do a review of it from an adult's perspective and like how it works as storytelling, breaking down storytelling, things kids aren't going to care about. Do I still get to mark it as a kid's thing because I'm talking about Paw Patrol? Because I'm showing clips of a kid's show? And the challenge of the Go About review my reviews don't have any swearing in it. But that's a personal choice. It's not trying to make this stuff for kids, but I have discussed topics about kids' media. Because I still enjoy it as an adult. Because I still think there's some good storytelling. In fact, sometimes there's better storytelling in some kids' shows than there are in some adult shows. And the same goes with comics. The same goes, there are plenty of video games that are made for kids that were fun. But I don't want to do a lot of swearing in my articles and in my videos. And that's doesn't make my work for kids. But the concept of what is for kids versus what is for grown-ups, it's a whole system that needs to be changed. There you have kid stuff, you have family friendly stuff, you have all ages stuff, which means kids and adults both get something out of it, but it's not really targeted to either one. And all ages is basically what I do. Something maybe more adult leaning, some things maybe a bit more kid leaning. Like Captain Yuletide is definitely kid leaning. Jake and Leon maybe a little more grown up leaning. But that's just the way I like to operate. So I think we need to get like kid friendly, family friendly, all ages. Then you get into the grown up stuff. Then you got the stuff that are absolutely not for kids. And that's not the way we approach media right now. And there are people out there who don't pay attention to this kind of media, and they'll just write everything off as kids because it's so easy. It's just all surface level stuff. They don't pay attention, or they see something that was made for kids and they'll immediately write it off, even though it could still be good. But they don't want to be seen as watching kids media because they think that makes them look bad for one reason or another. A good story is where you find it. Entertainment is where you find it. Playing games shouldn't just be for kids. Grown-ups should get to play games too. If the grown-ups want to play with toys, maybe they don't play with them, so maybe they're not sitting there on the floor having these big, huge battles. Maybe they're just kind of messing around with them a bit, posing them, setting up displays, or just fiddling with them for fun. Or they want to have, they want to race their Hot Wheels and see who's faster. And it's all play. It's all entertainment. It's all fun. Everybody should be allowed to have the fun that they want. provided as nobody else is getting hurt in the process. And I think we just need to start pushing our media as it's not necessarily the format itself is not just for kids. The solution to this, however, is not to exclude kids, which I see comics doing more and more. Video games, maybe a bit as much, but I see a lot in comics. Trying to find kid-friendly comics is, the Superman they got out there now, the Batman they got out there now. I grew up with reading Superman and Batman comics as a kid. I couldn't let somebody that age read a modern Batman or Superman comic because they were so afraid that they were being written off as kids media. And you see these superhero movies, they want to be R. Deadpool and Joker. Well, let's not even get into Joker, but they all want to be R movies. Like as if somehow R is some kind of standard, which is a whole other conversation, really, when you get down to it, because R does not mean quality. It just means you can't let kids watch it, and we can't be afraid of of something being for kids. You've got people in college watching My Little Pony. You've got people my age who go back and watch the shows we grew up with when they want to talk about it because they were written so well that now we see something different from an adult perspective. Something that you saw as a kid, and you see something different as an adult. Something that maybe doesn't fit logically, doesn't make sense with adult thinking, or maybe something that actually does, and they were ahead of their time on something. So I think we need to just start working on I'm rambling a bit. We need to work on how we approach media, how we promote our media, and try to get people to realize that something isn't necessarily for kids just because the topic is kids' medium or kids' form of entertainment. And that form of entertainment isn't necessarily exclusive to kids. Adults can enjoy it without being accused of not acting their age. Because sometimes something is just universally fun. And a good story is where you find it. And until people start realizing that, approaching media, creating media, enjoying media is just going to be more of a hassle. But I've never been one who cares what the world thinks. It's just I got to keep fighting back against idiots. And idiots, people who only look on the surface, and the slow-minded. Good story is where you find it. Good entertainment is where you find it. If it happens to be watching Paw Patrol or watching... Jeez, what adult show out there right now? It isn't some depressing, cynical, human race is bad kind of thing. I guess if I want to watch adult shows, I got to go to the 80s or 90s, or back to the 70s or 60s, because you ain't finding it nowadays. But that's also another topic. But that's what I was thinking about now, and that's what I wanted to talk about. So if you want to see who else is taking part in the Art Soundoff Challenge, go to Twitter and look for the hashtag ArtSoundoff, or go to the Art Soundoff Twitter page, @ArtSoundoff. If you think you might want to join in on this project, it's still going on, you can go to artsoundoff.com. And if you want to see more of my stuff, you can go to bwspotlight.com. I'll be back on Monday, hopefully back on a proper posting schedule. It'll be nice if this week was a fluke. And until then, I wish you all happy creating.